You know, it really wasn't as cold as it looks. Sure, it was cold enough that frost crystals were falling from the air and sparkling on the ground. But really, it wasn't that bad. Especially compared to the day before. If I'd tried coming out here then, I never would have made it down this road. But things were actually kind of pleasant now. I could hear geese flying overhead when I stopped to photograph these horses. This one showed off a bit. And the view back toward the mountains was spectacular, like it always is out here. There was lots to see with the newly sculpted snowdrifts in the ditches and Dog Pound Creek trickling along. But on a day like this, I would have expected to see a lot of deer. But up to this point, there were none. I know there are lots of them around, but it is hunting season, so maybe that's why they're keeping their heads down. But the Dog Pound Creek Valley rarely disappoints, and I found this porcupine up in a diamond willow. He was doing his best to try to make his way through the tangled branches and get down to the ground without falling. It was a slow process. But not far from that guy, this little muley girl. She turned her head when she heard the pop of a gun go off. In the bush behind her was this guy. He heard the gunshots too. It's amazing how well moose blend into the background. You'd think they'd be easy to spot, but that big dark body kind of mimics a shadow. Once I saw this guy, he was easy to keep in sight. But he was pretty confident with his camouflage. The afternoon was wearing on, so I started heading back to town. But there was one more place I thought I'd check for deer. And that's where I found a bunch of them. Over here in this valley by Big Hill Springs Provincial Park, there's always deer. And I mean, always. This buck is doing his best to make sure that there's deer here next year, too. So if you want to go deer hunting, catch and release with a camera, of course, head out there. And pay attention to the shadows. Might turn out to be a moose.